gt250, one bit of fuel in, cylinders. It's just evaporated slightly. It was quite a bit of it. Still a bit here, look. Just petrol. Loads of it. This is when carbs flood. And it's all fuelless. It's not oil or just full of fuel. When this happens, there's obviously no oil in the fuel. So, you see it all flying out. It's just fuel, no oil. Stinks. When the carbs flood into the crank, picture lots of oil in the crank, all good. And then a load of neat fuel comes in and just washes all that oil away, resulting in no oil in the crank. And this is when they sound really rough and noisy. It's not got a very good bond seal to the casings, but we use a 3 bond which does seal it really good. Gearbox looking good so far. Baffle plate as well. All good, not bent. See if all good there. All good. Please remember, when you're building these yourself, there's obviously the dowel pins for the crank, also for the gearbox, also for the kickstart. You must locate them in. Obviously make sure they're sat down properly, because if you don't, your crank's not sitting down properly, or your gearbox, and then when you got to tighten them up, you just push your pegs straight through your casings, come out the bottom. Done a few where people have done this before in the past. I've had to push all the pins back up and weld them up underneath. We do get it. Always remember your half moons as well. And the washer that goes on obviously here. Just certain things to watch out for. Yeah, gearbox is good. Casings are good, apart from this little bit of weld. Which one I do that? Yeah, all good. gt250. In bits. Yeah, so over-fueling carbs, especially if you leave your fuel taps on, all that's going to do is pressurise your float needle valve, which is going to just literally push all the fuel out of your carbs into your engine. So the best thing to do is turn your fuel taps off. And then obviously if it still's leaking, you've got a leaky fuel tap. This is the main problem with bikes that are stud, especially 2-strokes. You get that happening, and as soon as you start it up with that, all you're doing is running a really weak, because there's loads of fuel and no oil. Or even worse, you can hydraulically lock your crank and fucking bend a rod. You don't want to do that. This is obviously a very worn crank, because the rod eyes have gone, like, as you can see, all pitted.